Welcome to Toffee TV. It is live at 5, and we're like, we've got to be a little bit quieter, haven't we?
We have.
Got to be a little, because there's an interview in the next room, and like
someone important.
someone important.
Never heard of before.
No, yeah, Ned's never heard of him. An ex-Tranmere goalkeeper that now works for Liverpool. Who had Greg Glean coming into our room to talk to us about when Tranmere beat Everton in the FA Cup.
Came in, first thing he said is, "Can I meet the Evertonians?"
I mean, do you know what? That happens quite a lot. That happens quite a lot in this building. People can't, the door's shut, but people can't help but gravitate to us. It just must be just something
Just
about us.
It's either the banter or all the fish
All
that
the chocolate.
Tom keeps going in. Just
All the chocolate.
That's true.
They've also turned off the lights.
They have, that's why it looks a bit dark.
I don't think it looks too much darker. Just maybe it's like Toffee TV after dark.
I just look less white.
No, that's impossible.
Normally you can see my veins and stuff.
That's impossible.
Without the
that's
lights
impossible
on.
for you to look less white.
I don't think that's true.
I think you're the whitest man that may have ever lived.
I may not have the facilities for that big man.
I think you are the whitest man that ever lived.
Shall we jump into the
It's
comments?
just nice to have Ned's here. Baz isn't. It's been like Tingo this week. Musical chairs.
I know, yeah.
Me
Well,
and-
yesterday, obviously, you only know if you're a patron, so if you're not, get with it. On Patreon, there was just Baz on his own, and he was on the phone to me, like for 20 minutes before, helping him set it up. Like, this is what you do. He's like, okay. Comes in, sits down. I was like, so what channel am I on? Mixer, channel 4. Make sure your sound's on. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Goes live, sits down. I like just ring him while he's live. Yeah, your sound's not on. Talking to yourself, mate. So it was good though. It was like a therapy session.
A lot of people said it was. I'd seen the comments on Patreon. A lot of people said it was the best one ever. I don't know how.
It was just opening up about his footy career and like
Okay.
how it made his like mental health and stuff, and how like just the story. Well, you got to get with it. Get on Patreon to hear his story. If you want to hear Baz's story about his career,
It
was good.
Fair play.
That's
Nothing wrong with that. So, and I wasn't on some of the videos on Monday because I was behind there because you're not here. Baz was on his own yesterday. Baz has gone away to. He's at his daughter's
Graduation.
So congratulations
It's
to
been
her.
long awaited due to the
Long awaited because
circumstances.
she's not clever. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
because of COVID.
Oh,
They haven't
sorry.
had graduation.
Sorry, I thought
That's
you.
like, oh, she failed. My sister did, but you know. But no, Amy.
They're just dropping the mic there.
Amy done fine.
I was in London yesterday doing some videos, and I missed the. I didn't miss the train. I thought I could get a train at. I thought I could get a train at like 3 o'clock, off peak, but apparently the peak starts at 3 o'clock, so which was very, very annoying. So the next one was 7 o'clock, so I ended up just walking around for 4 hours, London, and also my phone died.
You met some friends though.
And I ended up going to the three shop on Oxford Street, and a very nice gentleman said I could charge my phone as long as he liked. I think he took a little bit of a shine to me, so I just basically stood there for about an hour, letting my phone charge. But it's mad because now, like when you get the train, I had no physical tickets. My tickets were on my phone. So if I couldn't have charged my phone, I wouldn't have been able to get through the barriers. So
I used to be able to get the train free anywhere in Europe for absolutely free. Now it's just the UK because of Brexit.
There you go.
So I could literally hop on a train to London now for free.
That's good. So I had to get it charged. So I got it charged, and the nice man.
Was it a nice day?
It was not like that. It's work though. It's work. When, you know.
I enjoy a long train trip, especially if you're in a
It's not that
comfortable
long. It's only
seat.
2 hours.
It's longer than like Lime Street to Lee Green, isn't it?
On some days. Some days. But yeah. But I was only down there for a couple of hours. Got the 8:15 train. Got to the place I was going to.
8:15.
I know, it was like hell.
That's your bedtime.
It's like
8:15
hell
in the
on
morning.
earth. Getting up at like 7:15.
I gone from getting up at 1 in the afternoon and then getting in here to getting up at 6 in the morning, which is not nice.
So I got down there, and the studio was in a place where, like, the nearest tube station was about 15 minutes walk. It must be I don't know anywhere in London that I've ever been that the nearest tube station is like 15 minutes away, and it was like central London as well. So I ended up getting an Uber down, and that was only because they said get an Uber because of the time. And then we started filming about 11, and we were done by 1:30. We just dead quick through it all, and then I was like, I'm going to go into Oxford Street because I'm going to go into a couple of shops. But now I know.
Bump into any managers this time?
I didn't, I generally feel like I'm going to bump into someone, but I didn't. I seen Alex Scott and Jermaine Jennis through the window of the One Show, because that's like open to the public. So I was in I went back to the Nike shop after they'd been charging my phone, and then the BBC's only up the road from the Nike shop, so I walked up, and you can walk past and walk through, and I seen them just sitting off waiting before it was, because this was about 6 o'clock, so they'd probably be doing a bit of rehearsing.
Did they not turn around and go, stop recording? It's Ped from...
Yeah.
It's Ned's mate.
I walked through and I was like, I made sure, I was a bit sheepish because I didn't want them to see me, just in case it caused issues, like,
Just in case they say, jib this Jermaine off and get Ped on.
There you go, yeah, Jermaine. Jennis would be through, yeah, be more like Baz though, wouldn't it? Because Baz is the right height for TV. I'm not actually the right height for TV, I'm too big.
Depends who the guest is. Or if Baz is the guest, if the host is like 6'4", you got to zoom the camera right
Tall
out.
people don't do TV. They just don't. TV is, if you would like, look at Ant and Dec, they're tiny, like your size. Tiny, tiny people.
Yeah, but I make up for it in mass.
Television is dominated by very small people.
That's true. That's why that, what's his name? The America Late Show guy, Team Coco fella. They always have him sat down, because when he stands up, you can't see his
Conan
guest.
O'Brien.
Yeah, that's the fella. Coco, his YouTube's called, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, but I think people genuinely like to be referred to what their actual name is.
Conan O'Brien.
Conan O'Brien, yeah. There would have been his name in that. Let's get into the comments. Gary Ward, hello, my friend. Not so Pepalaki says, did you think Max Aarons looked like a £30 million right back after seeing him up close?
He didn't really do anything, did he? He was playing wing back. He had the better. I thought Williams had a better game, to be completely honest. But he's okay.
I've sort of lost the idea of what a £30 million right back is, or a 30.
No, he's not 30.
No, but I'm saying I've lost the idea of what it is, but he didn't massively impress me. But I would probably say that in a better side, used higher up the pitch, I think he would be. But I'd only pay about 15 million for him, tops. Get him in for about 15 million, and then give him a year. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't think any of the top sides will be looking at him. So we would be, if they got relegated in the summer, I'd go for like 15 million. Definitely.
I'd go for less. But they want 30, don't they?
Yeah.
He's fast and he's defends well, but how old is he?
Like 22.
So he can improve.
No, that's what I'm saying, but I'd only go in for like 15. If there's no market for him, it'd be easier to get, wouldn't it? So
that is true.
Big Jan says, evening all. Have we been watching all the I've been watching all the shows, but this is the first one for ages live. Hope you're all well. Wondered if you'd fancy doing a show on the best home nations from the current Premier League. I've not thought of that idea because
What's the one that just went on Patreon? Was that the Everton's?
Yeah, that was one we did, me and Baz did, about early on in lockdown. Of your best home nations from the current Premier League. Could be something we have a little look into, but there is an Everton one on Patreon. AJ Noak says, is the Squid Game any good? I've not seen it. Have you aware of this?
The Squid Game?
The Squid Game. It's a Japanese Netflix show. And basically, the trailer looks brilliant. All these people get put into this like game show by the looks of it. And then they go into it and they're like the first task. They get put in the first task. And then the first thing you see is like, is it a tree? I think it's a tree. And it looks a bit like Japanese game showy, as you'd expect. And then the next minute, you just see is it a tree? I can't remember. It shoots one of them. And they're all like, and then it's basically, they get told, yeah, you've got to like live. The game is to live. So it becomes like these...
So if you die in the game,
No, it's not a game. They're playing the game. Are you
Oh.
not aware of Japanese game
Yeah,
shows?
but in the game you're in, if you die in the game, do you die in real life?
Am I talking to... What am I... A game, not a computer game, a game, like a game show.
I know.
So if you... Yes, if you die, you're dead. You get shot with a bullet.
That's not good,
What are
is
you
it?
not appreciating here?
So it's like a Black Mirror episode.
It's a show, though.
I know, but in the show, the person who gets shot by the tree, is he really, really dead? Or is it just
Really dead.
Oh my, that's not good.
Real bullets. Dead.
Do they have consent to be dead in this game?
Well, I haven't watched the programme, so I'm not fully aware
It
of
sounds really intriguing.
Well, watch it then.
A tree that shoots people.
I can't remember if it was a tree. I don't know why I'm coming back to it.
That's like a
tree.
step up a Wizard of Oz. The tree that throws apples. This one's got a gun.
There's a tree with throw apples in the Wizard of Oz.
You never seen the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah,
the tree that just goes.
Sorry.
Like that.
Why did your voice just go like that?
That's called the head voice. I learnt yesterday off a vocal trainer. That's the head of my voice.
Okay, that's the head of your voice.
Yes.
Yeah, I have. I can't remember throwing apples. I remember the tree trying to grab people. It was a bit touchy, R. Kelly-ish. But
I don't think you can say that.
why? He got prosecuted? Of course.
Oh yeah, he's been.
R. Kelly
proven,
is a full nonce.
proven guilty.
I can say anything I want about him. He's a disgusting human
How long do
being.
you think he should be in for?
Forever.
You think?
Never ever should be allowed to. There's
Full on trafficking ring as well.
he should never ever see the light of day.
He's in trouble, isn't he? He'll get.
I don't think he'll get hung.
No. He'll be physically, because he's a big name, isn't he? Especially if he got out.
He'll never get out, surely.
Hopefully.
Dick L says, all day long I've had to endure the absolute nonsense about the RS being top of the league and how Curtis Jones is the best young prospect in the game. We used to have good young players. Why do they get all the best youngsters nowadays? Number one, Dick.
Curtis Jones can't even lick Phil Foden's boots.
Get a new job, mate. Me, like, honest to God, I'd have to get a new job. Because if you have to spend your life being in a job where the people you despise because they're Liverpool fans, I'd have to get a new job. I couldn't put up with that. In fact, it's one of the reasons I went on the cabs years ago, was to get away from people. Honestly, I couldn't put up with that, honestly. Why do they get all the best youngsters? Because clubs, they changed the rules on anyone being able to get club players. The rules used to be like you had to be from a certain distance from where you got. Obviously, Liverpool give players a better pathway or are better at spotting players and are getting them. Everton have somewhere fallen down massively in their recruitment of young players. Everton seem to bring in players who are dead small. None of our players we seem to bring in are of any...
They're just not
physically... They don't look physically ready.
If you look at Harvey Elliott as an 18-year-old who started in the first team against Chelsea, which was a massive game, at 18, he's got a body like a 23-year-old bloke.
Yeah, but can I blow your mind though about Harvey Elliott? You do know Liverpool bought Harvey Elliott from Fulham.
Yeah.
When he was 16. He was on the bench when we played them. They beat us 2-0. So he's not someone they've like, you know, honed as a child. Like he's like the Dominic Calvert-Lewin route. But there's definitely Everton are missing out. But also I think the profile of the players Everton bring in just seems to be all wrong. The players you seem to get who... Well, we know where Everton went massively wrong by spending a fortune on Dross, basically.
Baz was on the live stream yesterday. He did a good 10 minutes on, and 15 minutes on how he views the academy setup and how it should be all changed and how it's no good. So interesting watching.
Well, we'll leave Baz
yesterday's live.
That's Baz's opinion, and clearly only went on Patreon. AJ notices, have you ever watched Happy Valley? I haven't watched Happy Valley.
Oh, the series with...
Is that Sarah Lancashire?
It's the woman from Benidorm with the mixed wife. What's her name?
I don't watch Benidorm.
I've watched Happy Valley, and and the intro, the theme tune was Jake Bugg, Trouble Town.
Okay.
Doom, doom, doom.
I think I'm aware of it, but I've never watched it.
It's okay.
I mean, why do you ask, AJ? RCO2 says, do you have any concerns over how the club is looking to bring in a right back? I worry that even though the Scottish lads are good prospects, it seems unlikely they would be good enough for the first choice in a team challenging Europe. Don't Liverpool have a Scottish fullback?
Williams.
No.
Oh, Andy Robertson.
Andy Robinson.
Oh, who cares about him?
No, what I'm saying is that they've got a player who I said on this show.
Well, they didn't even bring him in to be the first team.
No,
he came in and.
But I said
good.
when he was at Hull to buy him, I said buy him and Maguire. I was laughed at, scoffed at, because I remember him at Goodison. He was really good. Excuse me, this cold is still lingering.
Hard working.
Hard working.
Had a test.
I've had the test on me. And this kid who's at Rangers, he's a prospect.
Mm.
And like we've just said about Max Aarons, what's the difference between Max Aarons and Max Aarons has played in the Premier League, but he's not massively convincing in the Premier League.
This lad's 19 and he's physically strong, he's fast, good defender.
Listen, I don't know if he's good or bad. I don't. All I know is that Rangers have got their right back is their captain, and they love him, and he scores goals.
Tavernier.
And they love him. And this kid's behind him. And I imagine if Everton put a good bid in for him, they'd get him. Don't forget who the current right back is. Don't forget where he came from. You know what I mean? It's not like you can't always go
60 grand.
This big shiny thing is what you need sometimes. And this is where Everton have missed the trick in the last few years, is by overpaying for big shiny things that are not actually good and missing out on real talent for cheaper prices. Ben Godfrey, did anyone think when Ben Godfrey come in he was going to be, exactly. So all you can do, and this is fair enough if you don't, you've got to just have confidence in the recruitment and that they know what they're looking for. Now, if you don't have confidence in that, I fully understand. What
would have been great is when Seamus Coleman was still playing 30 games a season, and we know it was coming to the point where he'd start being playing 20 and less, get a young lad in then and bed him in so that now he'd be the first time. Because Patterson would have to come in and he'd have to play a lot of games.
That would have been when he was 14.
Which might be okay, yeah. Yeah, well, not Patterson. But now if Patterson comes in, which I still think would be a good buy, he'd have to play a lot of games, so getting up to speed would have to be done quickly.
Look at the kid who's gone to Southampton. It's really easy to now, from Chelsea, it's really easy now to go...
Livramento.
Really easy now to go, oh, we missed one there, but it's not... We're seeing him because he's playing for Southampton, but look at the lad who went from Chelsea to Brighton. The other lad who plays right wing back. What's his name?
Lamptey.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Why aren't we keeping an eye on these players? Why aren't we seeing these players and what the ability to step up to the first? Both of them would have been amazing for Everton. Could have easily took over from Seamus Coleman. The kid who's gone to Southampton, I think he's brilliant.
He's a bit more physical.
He looks like he's got a bit of everything.
Lamptey's more of like a winger.
No, I know, but he looks like he's got a bit of everything. The kid's gone to Southampton. Why didn't no one see those players? But it's difficult. It is difficult finding the next one, really. But that's what those people are employed to do. And we seem to just keep on missing out. There is something definitely not right in Everton's academy on every level. They seem to be missing the trick everywhere. We'll see what happens.
Maybe it's just the basics, no pace and power.
Yeah.
That's what they should be looking at. Forget quality for now, because they're 16, they'll learn.
He also says that young lad at Aberdeen does look like he has potential, but could it really translate to the higher level of football? Well, yeah, if he's good and he's got all the basic attributes and you've got a good coach, yeah. Let's have a look.
Shall I do some YouTube ones?
Go on, you do a couple of YouTube ones.
Hi, Dark Arts. Hello, Nick. Hello, James. Hello, Stephen. Hello, Liam. Dark Arts says they keep quiet when you guys are trying to do it live. Do they, though?
Who?
Them fellas.
No, of course they don't, but we have respect.
Sinner Gamer said, will you be on the kickoff this season?
No, I can't imagine. I mean, if the opportunity arose, I would definitely take it. But it's a weird one that I know a lot of the people who were on it. I'm not quite big enough to be on that, or we're not quite big enough to. Baz wouldn't do it anyway. He doesn't like travelling. I'm not quite big enough to be on that. as we're not as a channel. But if we did get on it, it would elevate us to imagine a point where we'd get a lot of new people with eyes on us, which would mean that it would make us bigger. So it's a self-fulfilling thing, because a lot of people who go on that suddenly become big, and it's annoying because I don't think they're half as good as what we are, but you know, a lot of good people out there, but they're not covering.
You're a full-time.
But no, I mean, a lot of people who go on it do really well out of it and get really good numbers, but I don't necessarily think their videos are anywhere as good as ours. So it's one of those things. I'd like to go on it to shut some people up, but at the same time, it is what it is. I understand. Listen, they have all the top people on it, and it is what it is. We're not quite in that league.
Give Brian.
But that's fine.
Brian a ring. Hello, Brian.
Brian.
Hello, Brian.
But that's fine, because we are who we are, and that's fine. That's fine.
Mark says belated happy birthday, Ned. Thank you very much.
I'd almost forgot about that.
Thanks. Nick says, what is wrong with Holgate? When we sold Stones, I wasn't too worried, as I felt Holgate was going to be a superstar. Is Holgate just too casual? He's at that age now, isn't he? You should expect him to start maturing, and maybe needs to be in a team where he's just playing centre back, if he's a centre back, all season, and get some consistency.
I would have expected him to start maturing like a year, 2 years ago, and I think he's like...
He had that season where he won players.
No, he was brilliant.
He was really good.
He was brilliant. But he got the injury at the beginning of last season.
Yeah.
But the injury was because of something stupid he did, trying to be clever. And I don't think it's got quite into his head yet what he needs to start doing. But listen, people said that about John Stones for 3 years, and then suddenly last season it clicked. So who's to say? But the problem with Mason Holgate is that because of his size, he has to be very good. He has to be on it. But I don't think he's quite learned how to be on it. And he's not... I don't know. What I would say is, though, I'd have him at right back ahead of Ben Godfrey, because I honestly don't think Ben Godfrey fully gets the position. Whereas I think Mason knows the position.
You're better off defensively with Holgate in there, aren't you, really?
I think positional play for Holgate is better. I think positionally he's better at the moment. So, but I don't know. I don't know whether he'll ever recover.
Eugene says Everton is having a training session right now.
Good.
I imagine it's pre-live.
Are they though? I mean, are they really having a training session right now?
I imagine it would already been done and edited and stuff. Toothy Orifice says, nice shirt, Ned. I got Alan's in the back watch. Thank you. I got the third kit on Sunday. It's nice. Let's do some more patrons.
I'll do them.
I'll go ahead.
Bruce says, do you think there are any players from FC Sheriff that we should sign? They all seem to want to run through brick walls for their team. I'll be honest with you, mate. I don't know anyone from FC Sheriff. The winning goal last night was stupendous. It was absolutely half volley into the top corner.
Defied physics, didn't it?
It was wonderful. It's one of those goals you dream of when you play yourself. Just hitting a ball that sweet is just something absolutely...
I just dream of putting a cross in.
Something special. Running a straight line. I've no idea. But, yeah. They're like, that's football, isn't it? You could get all those players, sign every single one of them, put them in an Everton shirt, and suddenly they'd look like absolute terrible. That's football. That's why football, we love it. Because of that. It's a very complicated thing.
Johnny's asking, do Everton do paper tickets? And
no, you print them yourself.
Someone said you can't print them yet. What they do, you buy the ticket. If you buy it on your laptop, it gives you a PDF. Download it and then print it.
Yeah, because you see people going through.
You can buy, if you go the Everton one,
they don't need to sell them anymore.
At the one,
no.
Or you can order tickets.
Just order them and print them off yourself.
Yeah, because you can print them off straight from your computer, and if you lose them, you can print them again.
It's 2021.
Yeah, or you can get some sent to you, but they take forever, and if you lose them,
just print them off yourself.
Yeah, print them off.
RCO2 says, from what I've seen and what the Piv said, why is he saying Baz? Baz is not here. Who do you expect out of Patterson and Ramsey to be a better spot? I have no idea. No idea. Piv's not here, so.
Ramsey.
Yeah. Professor Poopy Pants says,
That's a cool name.
I saw Gbamin is in the news for the wrong reasons today. Is he still injured? What do you think he's worth? And where are we to try and sell him? Is he really on 100 grand a week? I have no idea what he's on for a start. The news that has been reported about Gbamin is, again, I've not seen it from any kind of reputable news agency. Not that doesn't mean it didn't happen. I don't know. He's injured, isn't he? He's got a quad injury, I think. Who would buy him? Like, I mean, what would you get back for him?
Isn't he just turned 26 as well?
Everton have put a lot of work into
23 when we signed.
Everton have put a lot of work into his rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So maybe at the end of the season, if they really thought that he was never ever going to progress or be a professional footballer because of what's happened to his Achilles. The Achilles injury is the really bad one. The other injury was bad, but not like change your sort of everything about you. We'll see, but we'll see. Jake Marley says you can have a day weekend where you watch any film, any artist, band, live in their prime, and any football match back to back, all in person, no expenses spared. What are you picking in each category?
So what was the category?
So you can have a day or weekend to watch any film, any artist, band, live in their prime, and any football match, all back to back. So
a football match that's already happened.
So yeah. Well, it's not going to be one in the future, is it? So you can watch any film. What film would you choose?
Rocky 2.
Okay, it's fine. Mine would be The Bourne Identity.
What's the next one? What band?
Band, any artist, band, live in their prime.
Queen, because I won't get to watch Freddie Mercury right now on any other day. So
no, you wouldn't. It's because he's dead.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
Queen.
Okay.
In their prime.
And any football match.
So it can be before I was born.
Any football match ever.
Cup Winners' Cup semi-final or FA Cup semi-final at Ellen Road. Beat Tottenham 4-1.
Okay.
They seem like good ones.
Okay. I'd go artist or band live. I'd just cheat and go to Live Aid.
That's cheating.
And any football match, I'd have probably be European Cup Winners' Cup final. Because
Vienna.
Semi-final, yeah, great, but it's semi-final. I want to see lift the trophy. Dick L says, JP Gbamin banned for drink driving. Up to now, I've always felt Gbamin was just a good lad, unlucky with injuries. But this season, there's also some reason why he can't play in now this. Well, there isn't a reason why he can't. But he's had issues.
If he's guilty, then he'll take his
why can't he play? And he's always got some reason why he can't play. And we may need to move him on. Yeah, but how? People always say that you may need to move him on. How do you move him on? Like, it's not that easy, is it? If we were going to move people on, Delph would have been moved on. Or why would anybody in their right mind give us money for Gbamin when he's been injured for 2 years and he's been injured so far this season? Why would anybody give him money? This idea that you can just sell players and there'll be a buyer, I find mad, honestly.
Kevin Kraft says, I've seen Freddie Mercury at Leeds United ground years ago when he was alive. I'm glad he was alive when you saw him.
Yeah, I mean, if he hadn't been alive, that'd be a boss concert,
That'd just be weird.
Be a really good concert. I'm surprised you said Queen. I thought you'd say, like, Led Zeppelin.
So I could still go and watch, like, Robert Plant now if he...
No, yeah.
And then, like, Jimmy
But it's
Page,
not the same, though.
I know, but...
You're talking about in their prime.
I could never watch Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, but...
I just want to go...
Hang on. But there's a difference between seeing... I'm not dismissing, because Freddie Mercury's amazing. Not dismissing that. I'm just saying that there's a difference between going to see a band now who are all old men and going to see them in their absolute prime.
That's true.
Absolute prime.
That is true.
See, I would have said the Beatles, but I don't honestly believe the Beatles played any good concerts. And people might go, "Oh, that's terrible." I don't think they did. They said
Maybe the roof off.
yeah, maybe the roof.
Maybe
Maybe
can't see him. You like
69.
this,
Was it 69? The roof. EMI.
I'm not sure. Not sure.
I mean, you should know those things. You're supposed to be a musician.
You're a scouser. You should know.
I know. I'm saying EMI. I think it was 69. But the reason they quit in 66 live touring because they said it wasn't worth them doing it because
they get so much.
There was so much screaming.
Yeah.
So maybe actually, if you want to say one, you might say like the Cavern. Let's say the early days in the Cavern, 62, 63. Maybe just to say
Pete Best on drums.
Just to say, Ringo. Just to say you've been there and you were there watching it in that environment.
Cilla Black gets on before him.
Oh God. Get off you. But maybe the EMI. I think it was EMI. The Roof, which was obviously the last thing they ever did. But it's mad that they didn't gig for like 3 years because anything live because he just said it's not worth it. But that's when all the studio stuff started, all like the really interesting studio stuff.
They really. It was MTV who really started it, but Beatles were like one of the first ones to like start music videos. It wasn't like a proper music video.
Why? Do you know why music videos started?
I will tell you. Because synth music, right?
This is not right.
So like the first music videos were like they were always videos of the band performing.
This is not right. Well, everything he's saying right now is not the reason.
I learnt this on my degree.
Go on then, go on.
On my degree.
Go on.
So when they started synth music, the music video wasn't going to be a performance because it's just a fella playing keyboard. It was like, it's fun to watch a video of someone playing a band and stuff. Yeah. So they used videos to incorporate into the songs, so you could watch something else while listening to the music.
That's not true.
MTV stuff.
That's not true.
I learned that. I paid $9,000 to learn that.
That's not true. The reason why they started music videos was they were promos for bands when they couldn't go to other countries. So the Rolling Stones, let's say, would do a music video.
That's true for Pink Floyd, Beatles, and Rolling Stones.
So therefore, it's true.
Well, then music videos changed from promos into stories.
The reason why music videos started was so that bands like the Rolling Stones could have their music shown in other countries where they couldn't be live, where they couldn't go and be like, we're going to be in America this week. So of course there was no MTV and stuff. There was no MTV till like the
79 it started, wasn't it?
81 it started, but there you go.
A couple of years give and go.
Yeah. But that's the reason. And then yes, they changed it. Then music videos, they were promos though. So people could see them in other countries. So officially, you've been lied to on a course.
Paid $9,000 and I've been lied to.
There you go.
My dad commented saying Anne Hathaway is hell fine.
I don't.
She's a good Catwoman, but she's not quite. I
really like Anne Hathaway. I just don't want my dad saying things like that. But it's all right because it's your dad.
Maybe he meant fine actor.
I also find it worrying that he's saying it in the chat on there and he's not a patron.
Use my account. She's a good Catwoman, but not quite Michelle
Pfeiffer. No, she's
Pfeiffer.
gorgeous. Big Joe says, hi guys, would you like to see Jesse Lingard at the club if he become available in January transfer window?
Jesse Lingard?
It depends how much. It depends how much did we looking for him?
I'd have him on loan. Or if it was like a Townsend Gray sign where you get nothing for him and you can get 3 years out of him. Lovely.
Lot of money.
Yeah.
Ahmed says, hello lads, hope you're well. Ped, you mentioned the worrying trend regarding the lack of youth talent emerging from Merseyside. I totally agree. I think the issue is beyond the academies and due to grassroots facilities. You go around Manchester and London and there are cages all over the place full of kids playing mixed age football. The likes of Sancho, Sterling and Rashford all credit their development with cages. What can we do as a city to redress this? Ahmed, you're absolutely right, mate. You are absolutely right. There's a massive lack of facilities in this city for kids playing football. It's pathetic. Right? What we've got is, and this is great, but what we've got is at the moment, so stone's throw down there, we've got a lovely new pitches, 5-a-side. and full pitches. We've got Jericho Lane, and we've got a couple in. We've got Head and Eccles, and we've got a few in North Liverpool. But they're not places where kids go to play football.
Costs a lot of money.
They're places to go.
The one up in, is it near Sefton?
Yeah.
It's like 60 for the hour.
They're places where kids might go to train with their team or whatever. That's not how kids learn how to play footy. Kids learn how to play footy through independent means, which is, I knock at your house. Well, obviously not now, that'd be weird.
Hello.
I knock at your house. We've got a footy and we go, right, let's go and meet the other kids and let's go and have a game of footy. Right, that used to be in the street, right? That used to be, I used to play footy, my next door neighbour, and we used to just play footy. Basically, my house was one goal and the house opposite was the other goal. Like
the ball's going under the car,
like
just get in it.
Well, it wasn't that. It was like, you're going to break a window or you hit me car and all that kind of thing. But that's how you learned how to play footy. Or then you went to the bottom end of the street where there was a bigger road and you had the end of the entries and they were your goals and that was the perfect little setup, little pitch. Then you go to school. So we used to go to Sudley Infants, which had a lovely little grass pitch, but it wasn't very big. So it was small. You had like 2 trees as your goal and you'd play knockouts and you'd learn on a small little pitch how to play football. Right? And that's how you learned. 2 against 2, 1 against 1. That's how you learned how to play. Till what would these do? They used to come anyway and chase us away. Even though we do no harm, we're just playing football. Right? And that's how you learn. So you're absolutely right. London, especially London, I don't know what it's like in Manchester, but especially London, in these communities, have put these cages in where kids can just play football and harness their talents. And you're seeing this convey. Liverpool as a city, we've gone backwards in terms of trying to get kids to learn how to play football. Absolutely, a city as renowned as this for football has gone backwards. Absolutely backwards. The last England squad.
Is there any Scousers in the England squad?
The last England squad had Thingo in it, Alexander Arnold in it. The one before that had one Jag Scouser in it from Wolves.
Cody.
He's
from Haydock. He's not
exactly.
Jag
Scouser.
From Newton Lee.
That's what I mean. Jag Scouser. Right. The England squad at the moment is full of Cockneys and Manx and whatever else, and people with double barrel names, which is fine.
We're saying that there's less reasons for kids to go out now, and parents. There's less parents
but there's no,
allowing the kids to go out.
It's not that though. It's how they do it though. It's how kids in this city play football.
There should be safe environments for the kids to go and play, like cages in down south.
But the thing about it is though, it's not about being a safe environment. It's just having somewhere to play. When we played footy as kids, we weren't in safe environments. We were playing footy in the street.
We used to go play on a concrete court.
And I understand why that doesn't happen anymore. But in this city, yes, they've made really nice facilities that cost £60 an hour. But kids, if I knock at your house and I go, here's a ball, and we go and play footy, what's a really brilliant facility going to do for us? We're not paying, there might be 5 of us. That's what we used to do all the time. Baz will say exactly the same thing. Loads of people watching this will say the same thing.
A tree and a jacket.
Exactly. You used to go to a small, you didn't want a big park. People used to say to us, why don't you, big park up there, why don't you go to the park? We didn't want to play in the big park. We wanted somewhere small. Where number one, if we had a shot at the goal, it didn't come fly down the road. It bounced back off the wall or whatever. You know, the worst thing about playing in school was when the ball used to go over, but that was a punishment. If the ball went over, you were in goal, and that was the end of it. That was the punishment. You put the ball over, or it was red ass. You were punished for kicking the ball over, so you made sure you didn't. So you made sure when you had the shot that it had, you did it properly. So it's amazing making these facilities, but there's no facilities for kids just wanting to go. And kids have to have independence. I understand we live in a scary world now and there's a lot of scary people out there. But you know what? There's always been scary people, right? It's just that we've got names for them now. Whereas we didn't used to have names for them. We all used to have the bad men. We used to always have the fella at the door, the van and the puppies and all that. We used to always have that. Now we have names for them, right?
What sort of names?
Nonce.
Shit man.
Nonce is the name, yeah. Nonce. But kids need to have a level of independence where you can say to them, but also, it has to be like it's that. And that, listen, I'm not a parent, so I can't sit here and go, oh, you know, let your kids do what you want. But you also have to give your kids, I imagine, that little bit of like, you know, you think what you're doing's dead dangerous, but it's not. So, when I used to play, like, say when I used to play footy, like in the school, my mum knew where I was. If I was playing football outside my house, my mum would go, oh, you shouldn't be playing here. But she'd also be like, well, he's playing here. When people go, oh, it used to be, go outside, get off your computer games, get off your consoles. Now it's, go and play on your console because I know where you are. So there has to be that element of like, if you've got these cages and stuff, it's that thing of like, you think you're being a little bit cocky and cool and daring by being there. But if your mum and dad know you're there, they're fine. They're fine with that. And then if you're in a good neighbourhood where there might be a few little scals, but it's not, it's about, where I used to live, the lad next door to me was the biggest scal in the world, right? Biggest scal in the world. But he was our scal. We knew him. We knew he wasn't going to do nothing to us. I knew all the scals. I was like one of them to a level. You knew, you know, when you live
Is he the lad who nicked your bike?
No, no one's ever nicked my bike. What bike?
So when someone nicked your bike and then you ran off.
Oh no, that was like a proper beating. No, the lad who lives next door to me was younger than me. And he was a bad scout. Oh. He did bad things, but no, he'd never have done it to me. I'd have killed him. You gotta have somewhere in your neighbourhood where kids can go and play freely, and that's been completely lost in the city. This city it's gone massively under the radar. How embarrassing it's got in this city for kids playing footy and kids coming through the ranks. And yeah, I know you've got a couple in the Liverpool squad, and St Alexander-Arnold is doing really well. I appreciate that, and I know we've got, say, like Tom Davies or John Joe, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
They're conditioned footballers as well. They've been at Everton.
No, exactly. So you get
they're not. Wayne Rooney was a street player.
Yeah, he was a street player. So you've lost that. But in London, with these cages, especially, it seems to be prevalent in South London, where on a lot of the estates, we've lost that in Liverpool. And I'm embarrassed to say that because Liverpool used to be the heartbeat of football in this country.
Dennis says that's why Brazilian football is so good. South American football is very street because they play on the street.
Thing about it is, right, when I was in school, now I've always been tall, right, and I've always been mouthy. And I was always good at footy, right? I was always good at footy. Not good enough, but I was always good. So I used to play footy with people older than me. I was in my school, I was put in the year ahead to play for them, right? The teacher just went, yeah, you'll do for me, mate, you're that size. And he put me in the school team in the year above. I used to always play Sunday League a year above because I was bigger than other players. So I'm bouncing off lads who are bigger than me. And I'm getting into scraps with people who are bigger than me. And it makes you better. So if you've got to go down to a court and play and almost play for the right to be on there, and you're playing in like, when you're younger and you're smaller, all you want to do is test yourself against players. And that's not happening anymore. And I don't know, and it's gone completely out this city now, completely. And it needs to come back, and it's something that's been massively overlooked in this city, massively. I've not heard anybody in this city who's on the council or the Metro Mayor or anyone talk about that. It seems to be something that's been completely lost, and we're losing facilities all the time, and it's something that needs to be dealt with.
Maybe that's why younger players are becoming less clever.
Yeah, they are.
Because they've been conditioned. We'll do this for you.
Safe.
Since a young.
It's all safe. It's all dead safe. Conditioned to just be.
Where if you're on your own in the street, you're independent.
You're independent.
And you learn.
But also you've got to come up with. Why do you think all these players have got all these little tricks? Because they need to have them. Otherwise, some big grok like me is just going to go through them. Or going to use their strength. They've got to have some, but also you gain a level of respect by that as well. You see a kid, and the kid's got all these tricks. Everyone's like amazed, and now with the phones and everything, you know, and I know that's become a thing of its own, but you're absolutely right, you are, and that's where the South Americans have always been ahead of us, and it's something we've lost in this city, but no one seems to be talking about it either. No one seems to be talking about this city, the fact that we've lost that culture, and it hasn't been replaced by something else. So great question, Ahmed, great question.
Ricky Kane on the super chat.
Nice one,
Thank you.
mate.
He says, evening fellas, when the new ground gets built, what would you like to be our first game? What would you like our first game to be against? He also said, Squid Game is class, by the way.
There you go. Something for
I
you to
may
watch.
have to watch it. First game.
Go on then.
Let's say it's a pre-season friendly.
But it would be, yeah.
Villarreal. Let's just do him. Let's finally
Let's just do it.
put Dunk up front. Get Chris Foy, referee, just to make sure.
Chris Foy.
Just to make sure, because he'll award us a penalty even if we don't get one. Like 0-0 last minute penalty.
I'd go Paris Saint-Germain. Or whoever is the biggest.
Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich.
Yeah, semi-final.
But whoever's the biggest club around at the time, get them.
Show them who.
Make it
we
a
are.
huge occasion.
Jumped. I had one, then that was pretty good, and it jumped.
It does that. It jumps.
Why is it jumping for?
Just jumping for joy.
It's jumping like a Olympic medalist.
It's jumping like you jump onto Instagram when you see a certain ex-player's daughter post something.
Yeah, young Rhino.
Gives you the horn.
Someone said they grew up in Verzacli and now they live in Canada and they used to play in Verzacli, which is a cool place. Near the ground, right near the ground, isn't it? Nice place to play footy.
Hang on, whoa. What's near the ground?
Verzacli, isn't
Verzacli's
it? It's near Walton, isn't it?
It's nowhere near Goodison Park.
It's North Liverpool, isn't
It's
it? Verzacli?
nowhere near Goodison Park.
It's right off the Lancs when you
It's nowhere near Goodison Park.
How many minute drive is it?
10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, that's nonsense. It's right near the. It's
No,
right near
it's
Walton.
not. No, it's
right
not.
Near Walton. Right near Walton.
It's not.
In perspective,
I'm not being funny before.
In perspective to Canada, it's near Walton.
He didn't say it was near. You did.
But now he lives in Canada.
So
Verzacli is nearer to the ground.
yeah, Verzacli is nearer to the ground than Canada is. Yeah. Well done. Well done. Did you get a geography degree with your sound degree? Did you?
GCSE geography.
Jesus Christ.
I got a C. There's a few United predictions in the comments. Kevin's gone with 3-0 Everton.
That's not going to happen.
And Owain has gone from...
Owain
Hughes.
Owain.
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 So it's a Welsh name.
Owain.
Isn't it?
The weatherman on BBC Northwest called Owain, his boss.
Nice.
Adam Lilford says trying to sort out transportation for the patron night. What's the going rate for a cab from Warrington to Liverpool? Adam, get the train.
It's a Friday night, yeah.
Get the train. Right. So get the train.
You have to get the last train home, which will be earlier because of COVID. But you may not have to.
Is it?
Yeah, the last train home to Warrington will be earlier, won't it? Because of COVID.
Why?
And they're by the hour.
Why? Why is it? Why by COVID?
I don't know. Trains have been
Are
affected.
you sure
by
you know
COVID.
anything about this? Are you just blagging it because your dad
No,
works on the train?
last trains homes are now earlier.
Why are they?
Because my dad gets off work earlier.
All right, whatever. Get the train. Get the train from Warrington Central to Lime Street. Then walk over to Liverpool Central, which is a 2-minute walk, and get the train or get an Uber from Liverpool Central. That will save you a fortune, mate. Otherwise, you're talking 30 quid, I'd say, from Warrington to where we are for the patron only night that's happening. If you want to come, you got to be on Patreon. It's going to be amazing.
Barry Clark says, I saw Ned and Cam at the Speller on Saturday and they are smaller and whiter than they look on the channel. Do I look 6'3" on the channel?
They are very white.
Oh, hang on, I was sat down.
And they are very small.
I was sat down.
They are very white and very small. Let's hang on. Let's have a look. Gareth Hughes says, I'll be coming through Warrington on the train on the way there. Jump on, pal. That's it. That's the kind of level of, like, patron fanage that we need to sort out for the night. Or there's any other people coming from far distances, get a minibus. I mean, I'm not paying for it. Not so Palaki says, do you think the Twitter fume regarding the flat atmosphere on Saturday at Goodison is justified? Well, number one, it was one account and then people started talking about it. And what I don't understand is, right, let me just say this, right, the originals tried to do something about the atmosphere, right? They tried to do something about it and nobody supported them. Nobody. None of the other fans supported them. So they asked for people to do stuff for them and come along and help them, and no one could be asked. So this is what makes me laugh when I hear people complain about the atmosphere and then do nothing about it, right? If you've got a problem with the atmosphere, go and do something about it then. Do something like those lads tried to.
Was that the street end?
They tried to do something, and what happened? The people around them complained and the stewards told them to sit down. If people want the atmosphere to be better at Goodison in the remaining time, start a campaign for Everton to get safe standing in Goodison Park in the corner then for the last 2 seasons. People go, what's the point? Well, what was the point in putting loads of new executive lounges at Goodison for the last 3 years? Oh, it's a trial for the new ground. Well, is it a trial? Then get safe standing at Goodison then for the last 2 years because it's allowed now. And put those lads in those places and get the atmosphere going if it's a trial. If it's that important, if the atmosphere is so important to people, do something about it. Stop moaning on Twitter and do something about it like those lads did. And then they've ended up having to just basically stop doing it because they got no support off anybody. No support. So I'm sick to death about hearing people complaining about the atmosphere who aren't compared. Oh, I went to the game on Saturday. The atmosphere was terrible. So is that not something to do with you then, mate? Are you not part of the problem then? Do something about it instead of just sitting there, right? Or people need to stand up and go to the club. Let's have safe standing. Let's get safe standing in the corner and do something about it rather than just going, it's terrible this. Why is it so flat? Well, what are you doing about it then? What are you doing about it? I hate that. I hate it. Do something about it.
Sol's nailed it. He says the atmosphere at Goodison is reaction.
Yeah,
just like
and it always has been.
Just like the supposed best atmosphere in the
world. It always has been
Anfield.
Reactionary. If you want, right, there's this thing, right, that people, and we've done this to death, me and Baz, right? There's this thing about, you want the atmosphere to be amazing, but you don't want it to be organised. It has to be organised. I was watching the Ajax game last night on the train on the way back, right, from London. And the atmosphere was amazing. But know what I could hear all the way through it? The fella on the bullhorn. All the way through it. Fella on the bullhorn got shouting something and the fans are reacting. When we went to Dortmund, it was all safe standing. But at the front, there was this little pit, right? And basically, only the ultras go in there, people. Right? And there's a fella with a bullhorn, and what happens is it works its way from the front to the back, so they get the songs going, and everyone else gets it going. And when there's a lull, they get it going, and it's organised like it is everywhere. There's this idea that football grounds are supposed to be spontaneous. Oh, that's cop-out behaviour. Grow up. If you want fans, if you want an atmosphere, you need people who are going to be prepared to almost give up their match day to get that going. And the only way you're going to get that going is if you have a section at Goodison Park, safe standing. I see it, I sit in GT5, well in GT4, you have people who stand up for the entire game. I'm at the game on Saturday and there were stickers on their seats saying you've been reported. Right? I don't know what was said in the Burnley game, but it might have been for the fact that these people just stand up for the entire game. Why are they standing up? Because they want to try and get the atmosphere going. They want to stand up and they want to sing, right? So create an area now, which will be legal from January, that they can go to. But I'm sick to death of hearing people complain about what other people are not doing to help the atmosphere. What are you doing? And the answer is nothing. You are doing nothing.
It was all right against Burnley, I thought. Street End was all right anyway. Mm-hmm. Josh says, I'm hoping to get tickets for the Watford game tomorrow. Where shall I sit? I normally go top balcony. There should be quite a few in top balcony. You want. It's on general sale tomorrow, so you'll only get restricted views now, won't you? So.
Go. I mean, has anyone tried the new ticketing system yet? Is that good?
The resale.
Yeah. Terry Cook says kids would rather play FIFA these days than play actual football, but they've been conditioned to that, Terry. And they've been conditioned to that because where are they allowed to play? Where are kids allowed to play? They're told they can't play anywhere. Lynn Cook says the cages by us are full of crowds of kids getting stoned and dealing. Dads and their kids get intimidated. Where's that? Where is it? I don't know where that is, so I can't speak to that.
Call the cops.
Big Jan says, I remember. But you know what, though? That is something where you do need, like, if that's the case, police need to be aware of that, and have to put some community bobbies around it, where so you can go, you know what, we want to play footy here, and we're being stopped. I'm not talking about anyone being like a grass or anything, but what I mean is if like that's another thing. That's like neighbourhood community. That's like a neighbourhood. That's like a neighbour. I know it's harder because it's getting harder and harder. That's where like neighbourhoods have to come together and go, have we got a community busy? Are they gonna come down? Are police gonna come down and just keep an eye on situations? I'm not talking like raid anything. I'm just talking about so that those cages are for kids playing football. Big Jan says, I remember playing in the lane at the back of the house with a tennis ball if we weren't at Penny Lane Park. Yeah. Are we the same?
Liam says, the atmosphere at Totally Wicked Stadium is better, to be fair. People who don't sing are the only ones who can play in the most. That's only a 18,000 capacity, Totally Wicked.
That's for the rugby?
Yeah. Rugby league though, isn't it?
It's rugby league though, isn't it?
I think you can drink in Totally Wicked as well. You can set your...
Well, that's something that might be getting changed, mightn't it? So we're going to get the safe standing and we might be getting drinks in the... But that's not... They're not things that... The thing... So... And I've told this story I've told this story a few times about when we went to Germany. So one of the things that happens when you go to Germany is, or when you're standing, is you find a place. So you have to get there early. You have to find a space, right? So you get your space. Now, what happens is you do get a ticket for like an area within the standing area. And then when you get in that area, then you find a space.
How early can you go in and start boozing?
3 hours.
Really?
So,
Germany?
They keep it, and it's all, we said this, and we've said this for ages. So they get you in the ground, right? And once you're in the ground, you can go inside the ground, outside the ground. And this is what we've said should happen at Bramley Moor. Bramley Moor, you should be locked in to the whole area. You go in, and then you're in the fan zone. But the ale has to be reasonable for that. So you can go in and outside the ground. So you can go in, but you can come out if you want. So you don't go into the ground. That's not where the turnstiles are. The turnstiles are away from the ground. I think that's what should happen at Bramley Moor, right? Turnstiles should be people outside with scanners, scanning your ticket, right? So you should never have to go through a clicker. It's someone with a scanner scans your ticket, right? So you have barriers, or if you want, and you go through. And then you're in the ground. And then you can go inside the ground and inside. The other thing about German grounds is you can walk basically all the way around it. All the way around the ground. You're not stuck in one area. But when you go to your seat, there'll be somebody on the stairway who'll check your ticket as you go up. So when we went to Germany, we were in Dortmund. When we went up, we were standing, but we were only allowed to stand in a certain area. So then you go up, you find your place. You don't want to lose your place. So you don't move from that place. So that's when the fellas with the beer come round and they'll fill your glass, right? And you pay them. And that's, so you don't move from your seat. And what that does, it gets the atmosphere going. Because people are in there earlier, they're singing. The volume of the music goes up all the time. So as it's getting harder and harder to hear, so you're talking louder. So the singing has to be louder, and everything just gets ramped up, and it's dead clever. So you're having a drink, you're not leaving your seat unless you go to the toilet, but only a couple of years, if there's 3 of you, let's say, or 2 of you, one of you is going to stay and one of you is going to go. And all it does is helps the atmosphere in the ground, get people in there earlier, get people in the ground drinking, because if they're going to drink outside, make them drink inside. And it's all these little things that Everton have to get on board with, and that's what makes the atmosphere in Germany so good.
Stuart says police in Liverpool are scared of the Scally selling parking they don't own on a match day.
Fair enough. Adam Milford says, he's getting the train. The cab is for the return. Find out who else is going, maybe from your area. Put a post, get a post going or something on Discord or something. Keith Powell says Jack Grealish has a bad game, and all I read today is Pep wasted 100 million quid. He did have a mare, I must admit, but it was also a reality check for him. One bad game doesn't make you a bad player. Nuts. They should have been watching Real Madrid. Now that was awful.
Hakimi's really good though.
Ajax crowd was so good yesterday. The arena is good. I think Bramley-Moore Dock could replicate that if they watch both Ajax and the likes of Dortmund. Yeah. Astro says, do you realistically see any changes to the squad before Sunday? Also, have you seen Monster Squad boss yet? Underrated 80s flip. Let me start by
Pickford was down on.
Pickford's fine.
Is he fine?
I've got a sneaking feeling that Seamus Coleman might be back. That's not based on anything other than a sneaky feeling.
Is he training? He was at the match in his gear the other day, but he wasn't announced in the squad. Interesting.
But apart from that, I don't think there will be. As for Monster Squad, yes, Astro, I watched Monster Squad in the 80s, mate. Monster Squad was my favourite one of my favourite films when I was a kid. I've watched it. It doesn't quite stand up now. It's not really rewatchable now as such. It falls down on a lot of departments, but I loved it. I actually remember the marketing on it because it came out not long after Ghostbusters, and they were like, if you thought Ghostbusters is scary, wait till you see the Monster Squad. So it's about these kids in America, small town America, or...
Is that the one with Finn Wolfhard?
No,
whatever his name is?
No, this...
that's Ghostbusters.
No, this 1985. No, Ghostbusters came out in 1984.
No, isn't there a new Ghostbusters thing?
New...
And it's like the kids or something, and they find the stuff in the closet.
Yeah. The Monster Squad was from like 1985. It was about these kids that lived in this little town who had this little like club because they were kids. And basically, Dracula is discovered in Transylvania. And basically what happens is his body and the bodies of Frankenstein and the Wolfman. No, Frankenstein, sorry, and are getting transported to a museum in America. And basically what happens is Dracula wakes up halfway through the flight and causes the plane to basically drop their bodies into this town. And then the kid.
That sounds really good.
It is really...
They have to call Van Halen. Not Van Halen.
Van Halen.
Van Helsing.
Jump! For your love! Jump up!
Come play a
He's
guitar.
like, I don't know anything about vampires, mate, but, you know, got Dave Lee Roth here. He might be able to high kick a couple.
Van Helsing.
Van Helsing. Van Helsing is...
That sounds like a really good Halloween.
Van Helsing's in it, but I won't...
Is he?
But I can't spoil how he's in it, but he's in it.
Who plays him?
There's nobody big in it.
A young Hugh Jackman.
There's nobody big in it.
There's
nobody big in it.
Is it as good as Near Dark?
No, I've never seen Near Dark.
Which is supposedly better than Lost
The
Boys.
Wolfman is played by a guy who's like a well-known guy who's been in a lot of stuff, but all the kids and stuff in it, there's nobody who is like, and it's like typical, like stereotypical like group as well. There are all these like kids who are desperate to be cool, and there's actually someone cool who's sort of who's in the group, but he's not. Doesn't really want to be in the group. He just Keith Halson missed your speech at the party conference today, Ped. No, Keith. It's not my area, mate. I'm seriously debating whether I should stick as being a member of the Labour Party. I might transfer my allegiances to the Green Party.
Really?
Yeah. Absolute shite, mate.
Because of Kia?
Because they've lost their principles. I don't agree with the principles.
They're trying to appeal to the Tory party, aren't they? And they've just accepted that socialism will never work. Socialism will never work.
It'll never work while...
Especially while they've got...
It'll never work while Rupert Murdoch's around, put it that way. Or the owner of...
It has to be Andy Burham. Get him back
Andy
in
Burham. Does it have to be Andy Burham?
Get him back in Parliament.
Well, Andy Burnham's isn't that far from centre anyway, but I think he's got more things to say. Astro says Wolfman's got nads. Yeah, that is in the film.
Go on, nads.
Yeah, it is. It's a thing in the film. Any more on YouTube?
Sol says hopefully United go full strength tonight, but they are playing tonight, aren't they? In at home to Villarreal. So we never know.
What do you mean we'll never know?
You'll never know if they go full squad
Well,
or
we
not.
will. We'll know in probably in about an hour. I'd imagine.
We'll never know for the hour that we're doing this. 87 Monster Squad, not 85.
What was that?
87 Monster Squad was.
All right.
Couple of years give and go, like I said, like MTV. Martin Edwards says Near Dark is a classic and it's got Bill Paxton. Enough said. Or maybe. If it's a classic and two people have said it's a classic,
it's not a classic though, because if it was a classic, it would be a classic, wouldn't it?
You said if it's a classic, we would have heard of it.
Exactly.
I've heard of it for quite a few.
You've heard of it, but through 3 people on our Patreon.
But a lot of people have said
it might be a cult film. It might be a cult classic, but doesn't mean it's a classic.
PCAT told me it was crap, and that's when I decided not to.
I mean, PCAT knows more.
PCAT is always right.
I trust PCAT before I trusted most people in life.
Liam Munro says he lives in Fazakerley. It takes him 5 minutes to drive to Goodison.
Doesn't mean it's near.
It's nearer to Goodison than
well, of course it is.
Canada is.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
That was my point. Stuart says, Per, I don't mind singing in big games, but I cannot be arsed when it's Norwich 3 p.m. The Norwich fans seem... I was sat above the Norwich fans in the upper Bullens, and they seemed pretty happy when they were 1-0 down, wouldn't they? Jamie says Davies is shocking. I don't know why Ped loves him so much, because he had a bad game against QPR. He's just a squad. He doesn't sit here with the Davies shirt.
I love him because he winds people up so much.
Emmy says, have you watched Eastbound and Down or Last Man on Earth?
I've not watched Last Man on Earth. I have watched. I watched the first 2 seasons of Eastbound and Down. It is funny, but the joke does start to wear thin. Kenny Powers is very funny in the early episodes, but the joke does start to wear thin in it. I hit this fella's just a redneck knobhead, but it is funny. It is funny. The first season.
Wimmy Spoon says Coleman worked in training and Dom was on his own. So if Dom's doing individual training and he's up on his feet on the green, that's decent news. Getting back for West Ham. Daniel says scared for the United game on Saturday. No Richie, no DCL. Going to be tough.
Wait, but what are you scared by?
It was always going to be tough.
Not going to jump out and attack you, are they?
You never know.
They're not going to follow you down a dark alley.
You never know.
They beat us. It's happened a lot of times.
I said to you before, isn't it? It's the first one on paper. It's an expected loss. We've got half a team out. Let's just hope they
maybe expected loss for you. I expect us to win 8-0.
And I'd see a doctor. Sol Harris says, have you watched Sex Ed?
I haven't. I'm guessing you started watching it?
I started watching it and it's
I've seen the first scene of the first episode.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. Do you know what? I really find the directing and the producing interesting.
People say it's weird though because they're not. It's like all Americans, but they're in English school.
It's an American. They're in America. They're English, but they're in American school
in England.
It's like in England, but it's like an American. You know what I mean? They've got lockers and they wear their own clothes and stuff. And
is that what makes an American school American? Is
the timing is set in like the 80s.
Okay,
but they have mobile phones. It's really weird, but it's interesting.
Is it like Tim Burton's Batman?
Which one was Tim Burton's Batman?
I mean, Tim Burton's Batman.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah, Tim Burton's Batman.
No, because they didn't have mobile phones.
Yeah, but they did have like Batman in an amazing car, but in a city that looked like it had been dragged out the 1800s.
A city that was like, it felt like no one lived there.
And it didn't have a light.
Like
it didn't
two people on the street.
Didn't have a light between them.
Yeah, that's true. I'm Batman. Tell your friends.
Is that how he said it?
That's my Michael Keaton impression.
I'm Batman. Tell your friends.
Batman. Tell your friends.
Great Batman. Michael Keaton's a great Batman.
I'm Batman.
And he's a great...
Christian Bale for me is just...
And he's a great Bruce Wayne. No, I mean...
I think Christian Bale...
Christian Bale's the best Batman.
Yeah. Swear to me. Got a bit too far his voice by the third film.
See, I don't think it did though. People say this, but I don't think it did.
Tell what he was
was
saying.
disguising his voice.
Yeah, but you couldn't tell what he was saying. He had just been. Oh no, he got stabbed after he said that. Well, you've never given us another shilling. But the second one was the best.
Was it any worse like
the first one?
Was it any worse than? I was born in the dark, you merely adapted to it.
That's what we do in the League of Shadows, don't we, Bruce Wayne? Swear to me.
And to you, the people.
And to you.
Why is your voice not like it?
That is a brilliant Bane.
And do you accept his apology?
It's not about who you are underneath, but what I do that defines me.
I love Bane.
Bruce.
I absolutely love him.
I love him.
What does he say when he comes back?
I'm gonna make this pen disappear. Ta-da!
That's the
It's
joke
gone.
in your tit.
I know that's.
When he comes back and he just goes, inconceivable. It's just, I love it.
I like it where he knocks his thing out and he goes. And he starts going like.
It is
this
the worst. Like it is the worst. Like, and I was talking about something else, but Bane, like how they dispatch Bane is crap. Like.
When he goes, he protected this girl in the League of Shadows.
Like he's just like he's got them, and he's like, and then Catwoman just strolls in and shoots him with the bike, and it's just like, what an amazing character, what an amazing setup for a character. And they just shot him. I just feel like at that point Nolan was like, how do we get rid of this fella? How do we get rid of him? Like what I would have just done is the thing with like the nose thing came out, so he's in pain, and then you just leave him in pain, and you leave him then, and you don't know what happens to him. You just don't know. Because that's always better.
What I do
look
like
at Joker.
is,
Joker at the end of Dark Knight. You don't know what happens to Joker.
Could have been arrested.
He was supposed to come back, but because of what happened to Heath Ledger, sadly. But you don't know, and that was better. He got. At the end, he's like, we have to. He's rocking side to side. And he's like, basically, he says, we're useless without each other. And then you don't know what happens to him. You don't see him behind the shell. You just know he's still about somewhere. And that's what always happens in Batman. They get arrested or whatever. They get caught, but that's it, you don't know.
Maybe someone else had a phone in their belly as insurance.
Oh, that's cracking steam.
See my Two-Face impression. Heads or tails? What I did like how dedicated it is. What was Ra's al Ghul's daughter called?
Yeah.
Whatever she was called, how dedicated she was to being close to Bruce Wayne. She literally slept with him and then stabbed him.
Fair play to her.
Brilliant.
She took it really seriously.
Swear to me.
Incredible. Right, come on, let's wrap up.
Truth the Orifice says, is Joaquin Phoenix Joker any good? Brilliant. Different adaptation.
Yeah.
Very different Heath Ledger's, but it's
more
good.
about, it's obviously about mental health.
Yeah.
And it's about how society crafts the Joker. Bruce Wayne is in it. There's a version of Bruce Wayne, there's a version of his dad, there's a version of his mum. It's not really set in a world with superheroes. It's set in a world that is just doesn't like it doesn't have any time for people with weaknesses. And I hadn't seen it since I went to pitch. It's still recently. I watched it a couple of weeks ago. And
really?
It's, yeah. I don't know why. It was just so bit moody. I loved it, but it was just one of those. But it's such a good film in terms of like mental health. There's some really good scenes about it where he's talking to his psychiatrist and he's telling her how miserable he is. And she's like, but you should be doing this. And he just stops and goes, you haven't listened to a word I've said. Basically, you not listened. Because she's like, maybe you should do this and maybe you should do that. And he's like, you've not listened to anything I've just said. And it is about mental health. It's about people with mental health problems. It's about how society deals with them. And then how society then doesn't understand how a man can go and do terrible things when basically he's been thrown away, when he's been left with nothing. He's been left with like absolutely zero in life, and now he's got no support, and now it's a family thing, and how he's just got, not only has he got a terrible life, but it keeps on getting worse and worse and worse, and nobody's helping. And it's brilliant. I really like it.
I was practicing that dance he does before he goes on stage in the shower of the day. You know, there he goes.
I used to do the
Then he goes.
my niece was like 2 when it came out, and I used to do the voice to her, the laugh, and she loved it. Like that.
And just weed a little in my pants.
And my niece absolutely loved that. Which I don't know what that says about my niece.
I can do the Heath Ledger one.
Hoo-hoo, hee-hee. No, that's the original Joker from the 60s. Which was awful. Anymore.
Al says never do impressions. My impressions are amazing.
As he said, so you never do them?
He says Ned G's never do impressions.
Yeah, never.
My impressions are great.
I mean, you say that. See, that is good. Like, you swat.
What am I doing here?
Why do they make me make impressions?
Why am I here? Get down.
Get in the chopper.
That's my peak.
There you go. Right. I'm going to go home. I'm going to have my tea. And I'm going to watch What If.
What you having?
Stir fry. Steak stir fry. Amazing.
Oh,
I'm going to go and watch What If.
And
I might go and watch, there's a Boss documentary about Feyenoord on Disney+.
Is this week's What If Ultron? Ooh.
That's it. Say no more.
Scary.
Not scary though, is it?
Yeah, if Ultron got the body, he'd have been just unbeatable, wouldn't he?
Got the body.
If he had the body.
He's got the nerve. There you go. Right, we are out of here. Make sure if you're on Patreon, you check out the match preview. It'll be on YouTube tomorrow. But of course, patrons get it first because they're special.
Patrons are getting it as soon as I get off this couch.
Patrons, that sounded like...
It's not like a trigger. Like
no, it just sounded, you were saying, you just went, patrons are getting it.
They're getting the preview.
Okay.
That wasn't a threat.
Some mightn't take it as a threat.
It's not a threat, it's a promise.
Some mightn't take it as a threat.
It's a Sean promise.
It's a Sean. Well, if it's a Sean promise, then you know it's real. There you go. Take us out. See you tomorrow. Patrons, see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.